Hello, and once again, welcome back to Alleyway Conversations. I'm Andrew,
And I'm Patrick.
and I hope you're ready for season 2. After our 2-week hiatus, we're back. We got a little sick. We had the changing of the seasons. We got the flu. We figured it might be time for a break.
Yeah, there was just a lot going on. We're sorry about the Halloween episode not coming out on Halloween. I hope you guys enjoyed anyway, because if you're like me, you can watch horror movies all year round.
It's not like it was a pure Halloween episode, because, like you said, horror movies can be any day of the year.
Oh yeah, totally. But at the same time, I kind of feel like that was supposed to be like our grand finale. It was supposed to be something big, and it just ended up not quite happening the way we wanted it to. And we're sorry. But onward and upward. There was one thing while we were huddled inside, being really, really sick, and having not a whole lot going on, we ended up watching a lot of TV.
And one of the ones that I've watched for years, this will be like my 4th time watching through the series, and introducing it to Patrick here will be...
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
I want that gap so that we can cut that. Do a couple of... So Parks and Rec, what did you think of it so far? We're only on season 3.
Yeah, we are on season 3. We have not finished, but when that was the only real entertainment we had on our minds, when we came back, I was like, well, let's do one on this. And then Andrew was like, well, let's do one on sitcoms in general. So I'm like, cool, I like sitcoms.
And while Parks and Rec is... I would say definitely the newest one on our list.
Probably. Yeah.
We grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. There was a lot of sitcoms. Because that was, you came home from school, you didn't have streaming services. You had to sit through commercials.
Oh, God, we sound like boomers. Like, back in my day, you had to wait for 7 o'clock to strike to watch your favorite show.
I mean, we did.
Yeah, it's true. It's just...
I remember when you only got cartoons for like 2 hours after school, and Saturday mornings were important because that's when like 5 hours of cartoons would happen.
Yeah, you
we
get
didn't have this Cartoon Network. Well, I mean, Cartoon Network came out when I was like 7, but still.
Yeah, it was around, but at the same time, cable was apparently a financial nightmare if you had it.
Yeah, but it was good. I remember, I grew up with bunny ears on my TV because I grew up poor, and one of the things we got apparently coming out of I think Springfield was Fox. So I had like PBS and Fox, and on Fox we had a lot of sitcoms that we'll go into here in a little bit, and that was my thing.
I just remember when I first moved to this area, you guys had WB channel, and I thought that was super cool because I got to watch Pokemon while it was broadcasting.
Oh man, that was awesome. I'm like 99% sure I couldn't find it if I actually looked, but I actually had a couple of the VHS Pokemon tapes.
Oh, yeah.
The good old days when you used to buy a VHS and it would have like 3 episodes of a TV show on it.
Yeah, dude.
Man, that's a...
Nowadays, we'd have to... Nowadays, you can get the whole season. I'm pretty sure somewhere you could probably find a full season of whatever show you're interested in. But nowadays, they'd be the size of a steamer trunk,
Yeah, I mean, you can get 5 or 6 episodes on a DVD, and they could be double-sided.
Yeah.
So you could get an entire season's worth of TV shows on 2, maybe 3 discs, depending on how big it was.
Yeah, on VHS, those were big and clunky, and it just wouldn't have happened.
Oh yeah, no, you bought episodes by chunks. This is season 1, part 1, and there'd be 14 parts because it was a 24 episode thing. It went on forever.
And you would really think that since they're so big, video discs would be better for that, but no, they just look a little bit nicer than VHS.
They took a little bit less room width-wise, but by God, they were massive. You could play a frisbee with that and cut someone's head off.
Yeah, I remember my first time seeing it because, we didn't grow up with video disc being a format, really.
No.
But
I think it was in school, wasn't it?
Yeah, because it's still being used for live academic things because it was at the time, just because it was a lot higher definition and you could get a better picture of what you're looking at.
And for some reason, schools bought into that instead of DVDs. That's probably the only reason anyone knows about them to this day. Because we all know how slow schools are to upgrade because they don't get a budget.
I remember I learned how to keyboard on an IBM. And IBMs weren't even new and modern when we were growing up, by the way.
Didn't they kind of go away in like the late 80s, early 90s?
I feel like it was more the mid-90s, but
still,
by the time we were old enough to be concerned about keyboarding,
they were well past their prime.
Yeah, and I was still using it. That's why I learned how to operate DOS on, So,
yeah. Speaking of outdated and government, Parks and Recreation.
Right! This is the thing that started this whole episode.
In case you can't tell, we do like to go on a rant.
Yeah, it's kind of why we started a podcast in the first place.
I think by this episode, our fans kind of know what to expect when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought this was a sitcom episode. Why are we talking about laser discs and IBM computers?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think I made the joke at one point, and on our next episode, well, we're going to start talking about this, and then end up talking about Milli Vanilli or some shit. I don't know.
Now, next time, Jews in Space! Be like the Mel Brooks on History of the World Part 2.
Oh, God, that'd be cool. Hitler on Ice.
Yes.
Make it happen, man.
Please, Mel Brooks, I've waited years for Part 2, please.
Yeah, at some point before you die, hopefully not for many years, but...
You are still one of my favorite directors of all time.
We are actually going to talk about that eventually.
Yes, we don't worry, we do have plans for the future.
So,
we have plans for a director, some of our favorite director episodes.
Correct.
Some of our favorite actors.
Yes.
And there are some actors we love so much that we're going to do a montage of their movies and complain, bitch, and or suck their dick.
And if you've listened to one episode that isn't this one, you got about a 75% chance of knowing exactly who that actor is.
Well, one of
those actors.
What do you mean? What do you mean one episode? I think like 90% of our episodes we talk about them.
Yeah. I think there's like one or two, and I mean we've only done 10 episodes before this one, so.
Yeah. Don't worry.
That averages out to about 75%.
Yeah. So, Parks and Recreation.
Parks and Rec.
Main character is Amy Poehler. And did not realize she was a mainstay on SNL. In fact, I watched Parks and Rec, and then years later, I started seeing sketches of her in SNL.
Oh, Saturday Night Live was always a big deal for me. Like, it was my party at the end of the week, you know?
And see, I thought it was interesting. I did not realize how many comedians got their start on SNL. It still surprises me.
Oh, it doesn't to me. It's a really good way of showcasing one's talents as a comedian. Maybe you have really good delivery. Maybe you have really good facial expressions. Maybe you have excellent line delivery. And Saturday Night Live's really good for showcasing that, one way or the other. Amy Poehler is excellent at saying ridiculous stuff with a completely straight face. Like, she is the master of it.
Nice.
Aside from maybe Ben Stein, she's probably the best at doing that.
Yeah.
So, naturally, she plays the only competent office employee in this government office.
You actually come to find out that Jerry is actually really good at what he does. He's like the perfect office worker.
Oh.
You tell him to do something, and he single-mindedly focuses on it and ignores all else and does not care. He's a drone.
Well, yeah, but Ron also points out that he's most productive when he's not in the spotlight.
Which is why he's the perfect government. How many people in government do you actually notice? There's
Fair enough.
1,000 people in government and you only see the one guy on top.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even consider the head of an office, I wouldn't even consider him a government worker. At that point, once you're at the head of the office,
You're pretty much a politician. By
yeah,
that point.
you're basically like that, or a PR guy or something. Your only job is to try to get more money for your area.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of feel like while Jerry is very good at what he does, he has a very specialized job. Meanwhile, Amy Poehler is like crazy organized. She's really good in front of the crowd. She's very active in everything she does.
Nick Offerman plays Ron Swanson.
I
Personally,
love
my
Ron.
second,
Yes,
definitely one of my favorite characters.
I'm pretty sure any like straight guy could watch Parks and Rec and identify in some way with Ron.
He is like, yeah, ultimate man's man.
For me, it was like when he was at the strip club and, oh my god, breakfast food buffet. I'm like, awesome, I want to go to that strip club,
like that.
man.
I don't give a crap about these half-naked women, but I will never pass
Bacon
up.
and eggs,
I
buddy.
will never pass up a free breakfast buffet.
Oh, yes.
Why would anyone eat anything other than breakfast? They're idiots.
Yeah.
They're really big into breakfast on that show.
And, well, Ron is, if no one else.
And Leslie.
Yeah, she's got a thing for waffles. I can relate to that, too. That is the cool thing. I can see a little bit of myself in all of the characters. And I think that's something that's very important to a sitcom. You want to identify with the characters to a degree.
Yeah. Andy Dwyer, which is played by none other than Star-Lord, Chris Pratt.
He is an out-of-weight, directionless musician. I can identify with that.
And the beautiful thing is I think, I'm not going to say for certain, but I think this is the first real TV appearance that Chris Pratt ever actually got. This is his first big break.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because you'll notice he takes his shirt off quite a few times in the series.
Yeah.
Well, later on...
Yeah, he was working on being Star-Lord, right?
Yeah, so you'll notice after about like season 5, he'll stop taking his shirt off, and you'll notice that his dad bod is actually shrinking away under his clothes because he's doing a lot of working out. Because, I don't know if you know this, Chris Pratt originally... signed up to be Duke in the... What's the one with Snake? The Hasbro Super Soldiers.
Oh, G.I. Joe.
Yeah, he auditioned
It's like Snake, there's a Metal Gear Solid movie? I mean, the games are movies, but...
Yeah, right? There's more movie than game in them.
Yeah.
But he originally... I heard that he applied to be Duke, and they said, sorry, you're just not in good enough shape. And he took a real big self-esteem hit because of that.
Oh, yeah, and then you watch the movie and, like, yeah, everyone's, like, Abercrombie models. Like,
right.
It's crazy to think they're in the military. My experience is that, yes, they're strong. They usually don't look at them.
No, they all have beer guts.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of alcohol flowing in the military.
Apparently so.
Well, heck, I remember that story, like, one of the military bases in, like, Norway, that released their soldiers for the holiday, and in one weekend drank, like, the national average of the entire country in one weekend.
Oh, yeah. Like...
Don't underestimate our troops. We will drink you under the table.
I was actually...
Aren't you supposed to be fighting? Yeah, that too.
I was actually told growing up, I don't remember who told me that, but at one point somebody said if you're ever going to get heavily into drinking, word of advice, don't try to outdrink bikers or Marines, because you will not win.
I made that mistake. I did outdrink a Marine once, and even he was like, no, dude, trust me, that's a lot more powerful than you're thinking it is. You're drinking it that fast. It will hit you. What do you know? Oh, I should have listened. Oh, God, I should have listened.
Yeah.
He knew more than I did.
I felt that way about Malort. It was just like, oh, it's awful. And it's incredibly powerful. So you can't even, like, chug it. You really have to, like... Well, I would say savor it, but it's not exactly
good.
Savory, yeah.
So Parks and Rec, all in all, like I said, it's a great show. I loved it. I'm watching it multiple times, and you're enjoying yourself.
I'm very new to it. I've never seen it beforehand, but I love all of the characters. I really can't think. The only people that I don't love are the people that obviously you're not supposed to love.
Tammy.
I don't like anyone named Tammy sucks. Uh, So it's been really cool, and like there's a tiny spastic guy. His name's Tom.
Yeah.
I like him.
So, and of course, Parks and Rec, I feel, is directly influenced by The Office. Didn't you say the guy who made Parks and Rec was basically like, yeah, we tried to make The Office, but better.
Yeah.
They wanted
to put. They wanted to do something like The Office, but they wanted to give it their own spin, and I think it's a clear enough divide to where you can say, like, this is my own thing, but you can clearly see some influence from it.
Now, personally, I've only seen a couple of episodes of The Office because my Levi, a guest we've had on the show before, loves The Office, loves Parks and Rec, and has watched both. I've watched an episode while I've been at his house. Other than that, I can't even get past the first episode of The Office. It's so stupid.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you said this. You said that Parks and Rec would be slow at first, and it was.
Yeah, once you get past the first 3 or 4 episodes, it opens up, the characters develop, and it does get better after that.
Well, I mean, that's kind of why. Quick example here: Borderlands 1 is probably the worst Borderlands game. Just because it was way too busy setting up this universe you were in without having, like, a really great villain or a really great story to it.
They didn't know where they wanted to go yet.
Yeah, by Borderlands 2, they sort of established that. They knew what they were all about, and it became the best game. And I think you can kind of apply that to TV a lot of the time, too. Like, the first season or so, it's more or less just testing the water, seeing, here's the characters, here's the situation we're all in, here's what might happen later.
Yeah.
And, I think as far as season 1s go, Parks and Rec did pretty well at it.
Yeah.
And
now that we got all the newer stuff out of the way, some of the ones that we grew up on, probably, well, it's really hard to determine which one.
Oh, I think we know which one.
Well, here's the thing. We each watched probably a different one. I watched a lot of, probably the one I watched most of was Friends.
Yeah?
Well, it came on, there was like 2 or 3 episodes back to back. It came on right after I got home from school, so I would come home, I would sit down, and while I'm trying to relax from school and eat a snack or something, Friends would be on. I'd watch it, I'd laugh. I was also a horny teenager, and there's 3 very beautiful women on TV constantly.
Also, if you ever look at Jennifer Aniston in any given scene, you'd swear it's freezing on that set. She is always...
Yeah, just right at attention.
Yeah.
And apparently she thinks she's so small she doesn't need to wear a bra. At the very least, tape them down. I mean, don't worry. As a teenager, I was very glad she didn't. But...
Yeah, it's great. But it's great when you're 13. But...
Don't get me wrong, as a single guy in my 30s, I can still look and be excited, but it doesn't hold the same appeal.
Yeah, things get a lot less exciting in general as you enter 30.
But I enjoyed Friends. It was something I watched. It was a daily thing. Like I said, I got Fox when I had my bunny ears, so I got to watch Friends. After about an hour or so of Friends, The King of Queens came on, and I enjoyed that as well.
Oh yeah. That was actually where I usually went. That was my after school jam, just because I don't know what it is about like chubby, funny sitcom protagonists, but I'm into them.
Maybe that's why Chris Farley was just a comedian god in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I was really into him, but...
Well, I wonder if maybe a lot of those shows weren't as successful because of Chris Farley. It's, hey, not everybody has to be these well-toned or average-bodied people. Well, no, because even before then, like Jackie Gleason,
Oh
he
yeah.
was hilarious, and everybody enjoyed watching him. And he was a kind of a fat guy, and
Well, in fact, I think that's why a lot of the time sitcom dads tend to be kind of heavier gentlemen. You know.
they definitely have the dad bod.
Yeah.
Like what was the one based off of The Big Bang Theory? Young Sheldon.
Oh God.
Yeah, look at
You
his.
watched it?
I personally loved The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon.
See, and I felt like nerd culture was getting exploited for cheap laughs. Like I
They do
I know.
make fun of them, yes, but I feel like it's kind of good natured because they get in depth enough about some of this stuff that they had to have been nerds to get some of these references.
All I know is that my dad called me Sheldon for like a solid year. And I was just like, yeah, I get spastic, I get excited because I'm passionate about something. That something is Metal Gear Solid, but still.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't think I should be made fun of because I'm passionate about something.
Well, like that old joke, I keep seeing this meme on the internet come by at least once, like every 6 months or so, and it says jocks make fun of nerds for playing D&D and stuff like that, and then after they get done making fun of them, they go home to play their fantasy football.
Yeah, I've never understood that. My dad was really he was into fantasy football for 1 year. His fantasy team did not make it, so I guess he just got a little frustrated and stopped.
See, and I could not care less. I don't know anything about. Well, I know some about football. I don't know anything about the people, the teams.
Yeah.
I've been a New York Giants fan basically my entire life because when I was growing up, my dad loved the Chiefs. Painted my entire room red and yellow. I had a Chiefs ceiling fan because he was bound and determined to make me a Chiefs fan, and I hated football with a passion.
Fate
So I'm
ball.
like, yeah, fate ball.
Fate ball would be way more exciting.
Woo, fate ball. But no, I did not want to do it. I had no desire to, and I hated him for trying to push it on me. So I only knew 3 football teams back.
So not
back
only
then.
did you not ever watch football again, you also had a favorite team that wasn't the Chiefs.
And I only knew 3 football team names back then. I knew the Chiefs, I knew the Giants, and I knew the Pirates. And I knew the Pirates weren't a football team anymore. So,
Oh yeah, that's right.
because I think they like died out in the 70s or something. I'm like 6 years old. Of course I know there's something called the Pirates.
Yeah.
Pirates are awesome.
There was the Pittsburgh Pirates, but they're a baseball team.
Yeah, so I don't know if they changed or what. Maybe I confused them.
Yeah, which on that note, with the World Series over, I am done caring about sports for the next year.
Until the midget toss begins.
Yeah, unless it's boxing or baseball or like something zany like stripper Olympics or something crazy.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, you heard me.
Where are they? Where can I find them?
We're gonna look that up as soon as this podcast's over because I kind of made it up, but I feel like it's gotta be a thing.
I mean, I remember watching a TV show, and it was a pilot episode, and it was going to be called America's Next Top Porn Actress, and it was basically like America's Got Talent. Like they had judges, and like one of the judges was Ron Jeremy, and
Of course.
and they would just run these women through the gauntlet of just horrible porn stuff, and I'm just like, this is definitely going to be on paid cable.
Yeah.
But again, I found this when I was like 16. I was really excited.
I mean, I just have no interest in reality TV of any type. Nothing made me interested in reality TV. I watched Forged in Fire, and I've always really, really wanted to do blacksmithing, but it's like crazy expensive to get started.
Mm-hmm.
But not even that could get me into reality TV.
Which is a shame. I really liked Forged in Fire. I still watch it.
I mean, it's not necessarily that it's bad, it's just I don't know, it felt really melodramatic and
Yeah, I don't like that. Maybe it's some of the earlier stuff. I mean, I feel like they've done so much now. They're just trying to find things to insert into this, but I really do enjoy it.
Well, and I mean, that's your prerogative. I'm not, like, looking down on anyone unless what you're into is Jersey Shore, in which case I'm judging you so hardcore right now.
Oh yeah. The one that I think you might like. Did you ever watch World's Dumbest?
No.
So, World's Dumbest, they get a couple of really famous B-rate actors, and I'm sure you know some of them.
Probably. Most
who am I
likely.
thinking of? Rocky Balboa.
Oh, Sylvester Stallone.
His brother.
Oh.
He's one of the guys on there. Tanya Harding.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and just a couple of them, and they are. It's World's Dumbest and then subcategory like World's Dumbest, Vacationers, Americans in other parts of the country. My favorite is World's Dumbest Criminals. They find like CCTV footage and they just make fun of these people. It's amazing. Like one of the ones was World's Dumbest Criminals. They're up into like the 30s, and each one has 20 different clips for them to make fun of.
Well, that was one thing. I had a roommate who was really into ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you don't know who that is, what that is, Rob Dyrdek was ruling MTV harder than Tom Green for like a week.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the Dream Factory.
There was the Dream Factory. There was that, and there was what was it? Robin Big, where he was like. The whole thing was just him hanging out with his bodyguard, which was really cool because his bodyguard was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing well now.
Probably not a great quality to have in a bodyguard.
Yeah. But, no, it was just essentially him watching YouTube videos with his friends. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And like
doesn't he
it wasn't
still kind of have a show like that now?
He probably does. I haven't watched it in years. I just had a roommate who really liked it,
and I'm sure.
And I didn't hate it. So.
Which came first, that or like Tosh.0? Because I'm seeing a direct correlation with Tosh.0 here.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you which one started first. If I were to guess, probably Tosh.0. Just because it's more like finished, it has a bit more polish to it. Even though there really isn't a whole lot to it, just like a comedian watching YouTube and being like, hey, look at this fucked shit.
I will say the invention of YouTube has immortalized all of the hold my beer and watch this moments.
Well, and on that note, even before that, VH1 had a show where I cannot remember the name of the show, but the late rapper Patrice O'Neal watched and judged certain YouTube videos. So it's been a theme for a while. And I think it's kind of a good format for TV to stay afloat too.
I can see that.
Yeah.
So some really amazing TV shows. I really did enjoy a lot of these. Obviously, that's probably why I love comedy shows as much as I did, because a lot of these, like, I remember in high school, or not even high school, I was like 12, I think I was in junior high, me and Mom used to watch Malcolm in the Middle all the time. It's where I very first found Bryan Cranston. He's amazing.
I mean, that's where most people first saw Bryan Cranston. So.
And even though they could have some really serious things and problems, it was all done around comedy. So, like, I remember the episode where their mom flips her shit not because they ruined her evening gown, but because it was on fire, and she was crazy because she thought they could have burned the house down and all this stuff. So it was one of those episodes, hey, you really can't play with fire. It's a very dangerous thing to do in the house. You really need supervision. But they did it in such a comedic way. You almost blew it off, but it was definitely enough that you kind of remembered that.
That's probably why I didn't get crazy into Malcolm in the Middle. Like, I didn't hate it. I watched plenty of episodes and thought they were fine. But I always kind of felt like the characters were just so exaggerated they were completely unrelatable.
Oh, yeah.
But I also think that's sort of the appeal, too.
Like, you could be like, hey, our family's crazy, but at least we're not that.
Yeah. And I get that. But
let's face it, Bryan Cranston really did make that show. All of the scenes with him. Remember,
yeah.
I don't know which episodes you've seen or how many. Like when him and his wife both get like the flu really bad, and no, we gotta have our date night. It's our anniversary, and they're both so crazy sick with the flu they have no idea what the other person's doing, and they're just like, I hope I'm faking it well enough for them to believe I'm having a great time. And they're both of them are out of their minds on like flu medication and a fever hallucinations that they could have been in the ditch somewhere and not realized it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and I can actually see that because we've been there before. We were there last week. We were sitting there working just horribly sick.
Oh, yeah.
But, you gotta do it. So
yeah, you might notice our B-rate horror movies, I promise, the sound isn't off. We are.
Yeah, like, we were... Oh, that's gotta be our chillest episode. Which is sad, because I was really excited about it, because it's something I know about that I can talk about quite a bit.
But both of us were just sitting in our chair. I felt like oozing into it. We're just like, that was...
I tend to talk really quiet, so most of the time I'm like really leaning into the mic so you can hear me nice and clearly.
Not that time.
I was leaned back like, you can probably hear it now. This is about where I was, just splayed out on this office chair.
If we should have put the microphone on the floor and we could have just laid down and stared at the ceiling.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes was good.
Hey, there you go. We should have drank half a bottle of NyQuil each and then gone on. Who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, let's just keep recording until we both pass out.
Hey, we have a 6-hour episode, but only the first hour has something on it. After that, you just hear...
This guy snores.
You do too.
Probably. I have been told by multiple people that yes, I do snore, so.
You only snore. Actually, your snores are more like really deep breathing. It's weird.
Yeah, it's just because I'm a heavy smoker. I normally breathe just fine, but.
So. And let's face it, being sick and stopped up and, oh God, we were taking 4 or 5 different medications to try to get over that and still go to work and still do the podcast. It was an interesting week.
Yeah, and that's why, like, before we did our next episode, you were like, should we maybe take a week or so off and see what happens? I'm like, yes!
And then your voice just kept getting deeper and deeper, and I'm like, hello, Louis Armstrong. Shut up.
Yeah, it really did. Like, I'd impersonate, like, really notably raspy comedians like Stephen Wright or Blake Clark.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I know a lot of mainstream comedians, but some of those people I don't know.
Well, Blake Clark's, he's, I guess, really good friends with Adam Sandler, because he's in, like, almost all of his movies.
Oh, yeah, I do remember you talking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, names is a really big Achilles heel of mine. I'm terrible with remembering names.
He's the old guy. He was the crazy Cajun dude in Waterboy. Yeah. He also reprised his role, that exact role, in Joe Dirt.
Also a good movie.
Home where you make it.
What was that? Home's
where you make it.
Alright, I'm sorry, I don't have a $20 bill to give you.
Home where you make it. Everybody know that. Alright. Did like to see homeboys naked?
Yeah. So, another really big thing that happened when we were around then, that 70s show. I mean, that was everywhere back then. Good point, yeah.
Yeah, that was, it was one of those things when it first started becoming a big deal. I was So I was like a duckling, edgy preteen, and I wasn't. I just like very argumentative. Like, no, people like it. Must suck.
So you were a Hyde and didn't even realize it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, this is mainstream. You can't like it.
Yeah, like that was kind of how I felt. Just like, nah, people are really into it. It's probably overhyped and stupid. I'm not gonna watch it.
So again, exactly like Hyde.
And then like I kind of came around just because, you know, there comes a time where you just don't care anymore.
Not only that,
Like,
but when you have bunny ears, we had like 3 channels. So unless you were watching
yeah, you're
PBS,
probably just gonna watch some other thing you think is probably overhyped and stupid. So
or PBS.
At least this one has. Oh crap! I cannot remember her name. Laura Prepon.
I don't remember. I remember her and I remember Jackie.
Yeah.
Donna and Jackie, and I cannot remember.
I had a huge crush on Donna, so.
Yeah. That might be where our love of redheads come from.
No, that comes from a lot of different places. But,
I do love redheads, that's for sure.
Me too. But, at the same time...
Come here, you redheaded bit. Oh, wait, that's right, you're bald. Never mind.
Yeah. The beard's red. The top is missing.
Actually, you're getting some stubble up there.
Yeah, I'm starting to. I need to shave.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I get almost like a monk sort of thing, and dude, I might as well just shave it all off, make it look like it's on purpose.
So, Kelso, which is
Ashton Kutcher.
I will never see Ashton Kutcher as anyone other than Kelso. I'm sorry. I grew up for years. That's the only thing I saw him in. And then after that, he was on Punk'd, which is basically Kelso already.
Yeah, that was 70s Kelso, but this is 2000s Kelso.
So when they came out with that Steve Jobs movie and they made Ashton Kutcher Steve Jobs, I'm like, there's no way.
I don't know if I called you up or I waited until we like met up later on, but I was like, dude, fucking Kelso's going to play Steve Jobs. We gotta watch this because it's gonna be hilarious.
And it wasn't, because we just assumed it was, but it still worked because they portrayed Steve Jobs as a really big asshole, and I feel like that's also Kelso.
Yeah.
So it still kind of worked.
Ashton Kutcher plays the role of a jerkwad that doesn't realize he's being a jerk really, really well. And that was Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
I think enough time has passed to say that while he's a very innovative and interesting human being, and probably a guy that his family loves quite a bit and misses dearly, he was kind of a jerk.
How did epic rap battles of history do that? You steal the work that other people do. Did your fat bearded Wozniak steal these raps for you too?
Yeah, Steve Woz, man. Just
poor guy.
Totally got the
shaft.
Yeah.
Didn't even get a cool theme song or a black guy.
Yeah.
Just Shaft.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. See, we're talking about TV shows. I brought it up.
Oh, hey, yeah.
Never watched it. I watched the movie with
the TV shows like Sam Adams, Sam Jackson.
With the Sam Adams, man, a beer could play that role, huh?
You can tell this isn't my first beer.
Oh man, but yeah, it was strange. Just
yeah,
never watched it.
It is really good in that fun 70s A-Team kind of way.
Although, speaking of the A-Team, I did love the A-Team.
Oh yeah, who didn't love the A-Team? Anyone who doesn't love the A-Team never watched it.
It's a commie.
Possibly a communist, yes.
I'm just saying, who else, other than a communist, would look at the A-Team and go, no, you shouldn't do that. Why the Russian? Don't ask me, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you did say communist, so...
Yeah, but ever since the fall of the USSR, I don't believe they're technically communist anymore.
No, but at the same time, it's kind of become a bit of a stereotype. Like, when you think communist, you think Russia. Because that's been the biggest, most long-running communist government.
Well, I'm sorry. I really loved my 80s action movies, and 90% of the time, Russians were the bad communist people.
Yeah! They were were scary. Now they're still scary.
But for whole other different reasons.
Yeah.
You want proof that Russians are terrifying? Watch any Russian dashboard cam footage.
Yeah, any of them. Something weird is going to happen.
My favorite one is still the gas tanker that's on fire, and you just hear the Russian guy just throw it in reverse and be like, oh, god damn it, it's a Tuesday, and I gotta deal with this shit. Then, boom, giant fireball like 50 feet in front of him, like, oh, fucker, he's probably gonna be backing up traffic all goddamn day now. Just nonchalant, just nothing going on.
Oh, yeah.
Does not care.
Yeah, a friend of mine who traveled out there at one point once described Russia as an entire country in desperate need of parental supervision.
Well, that's the problem. Once Stalin left, they're all like, we do what we want now.
Yeah, we're going to stay up all night and eat Cracker Jacks anytime we want. It's going to be awesome.
I still want to know, how is it that the Irish people, who loves potatoes more than anybody, didn't invent vodka?
Because we were eating the potatoes.
That's no excuse.
We weren't eating the barley and stuff. Like, that was kind of just dumb. So, like, we made that into whiskey and decided to make stew and stuff out of the potatoes.
Alright, I'll forgive you for now.
Yeah, well, why'd Scotland, a very impressive military force, get conquered by the hoity-toity British?
Hey, we finally got our blue painted Mel Gibson and took it back. Or at least tried to. Just saying, a bunch of dirty peasant farmers rose up and fought the greatest national army in existence at the time. In case you can't tell, Patrick is Irish and I'm Scottish, and we are very proud of our ancestry.
Of course, on that note, we're both American, and during that war, the farmers actually won.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I have double reason to be proud of my ancestry. I'm also German! We're not going to talk about that.
No, it's probably best not to.
During the entire 40s, we were just all out for coffee.
We had to go to Belgium for it. It was really good coffee.
No, that was the chocolate.
Yeah, well, we
wanted chocolate-covered coffee beans. There you go. That's our excuse, and we're sticking to it.
Yeah. And then we had to go out for Czechoslovakia for lunch.
They make great sausage.
They do. And I mean, speaking of, then you start talking about sausage and Poland starts looking really good.
Get some good croissants, man. Croissant sausages are amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I think
I don't know where you're going with that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to talk about wacky and zany things. What better than Home Improvement? Talk about wacky and zany, yeah.
Like, that was the whole thing. I feel like... I feel like Malcolm in the Middle was the nega Home Improvement. Like, everyone's so... Like, that was the whole thing that turned me off of Malcolm in the Middle, is that everyone's so over the top, it's completely unrelatable. And with Home Improvement, I could actually see people thinking it's boring, because the characters are way too relatable and down to earth.
And yet, because everybody just built themselves up off of Tim Allen.
Yeah.
And he was the one that was doing everything crazy and off the wall and stuff, and everybody else was like reacting like a normal person would.
Yeah. As a bearded guy and a flannel enthusiast who is very disappointed in my best friend pretty constantly, I can relate quite a bit to Al Borland. But at the same time, that's kind of the whole thing. Like, it's not the Al Borland show. It's Home Improvement with Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Tim the Toolman Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it's just constantly... Like, that was... I always really liked how he played off of Al.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like... I don't think so, Tim.
You know, the interesting thing was I remember them doing some episodes, and they went back to the very first time they brought Al Borland onto the show. Because they did like a, back in time kind of episode where they're like, hey, let's go back and watch our first episode. And Tim was the one with the beard and mustache, and Al was clean shaven.
Yeah. That would actually be that way explain it. He like shook his hand and he's like, "Hey, nice beard, dude."
And now all of a sudden he grew out his. Makes me wonder where all of Al Borland's mama jokes came from.
Yeah, people have been making fun of each other's moms for decades, man.
Yeah, but if you think about it, nobody really. Everyone used to make fun of the mother-in-law when they came to visit and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
before and pretty much after Home Improvement, I don't really remember any other show really ragging on someone's mom like that.
Probably not on TV, but there actually were like in inner cities in the 70s, they did quite a bit. You know, in the same sense as like Yo Mama jokes were like, I don't know,
Yeah.
in the early 2000s or so.
Mm.
About the time that 70s show was around.
Like I said,
Yeah.
I grew up watching Home Improvement. I remember watching it as a little kid with my mom and dad. I remember watching it towards the end of its life cycle when I was in like junior high. I remember finding it again on like Hulu.
Oh god, it's
like,
on Hulu?
It was like
Oh.
5-6 years ago.
That's lame.
I don't know. I want to say kind of recently I found it somewhere else.
Yeah.
But that's just one of the shows I watched.
You did actually find a reality TV show that I wouldn't say I'm gonna seek out on my own, but you know, you happen to be watching it. Not really gonna complain with Tim Allen and Richard Karn is his name.
You mean Last Man Standing?
No, it was with Tim and Al. It was a reality TV show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
where they yeah, it's kind of like a live action Home Improvement, but Tim's not allowed to touch tools.
As you know what, to be fair, what we know from the sitcom, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. Well, on the same track of Home Improvement, I remember. Did you ever watch Dharma and Greg growing up?
I did. I was really into it
Me
because,
too.
like, on the one hand, being in the Midwest, I could really relate to Home Improvement quite a bit. But my mom's side of the family, lots of hippies. So I could actually relate to Dharma and Greg as well. So
And see, my mom loved Dharma and Greg, so whenever it was on, she'd basically take control of the TV, and I would either have to find something else to do or watch it with her. And being just a lover and fan of comedy as I am, literally I got like 5 minutes into one episode. I'm like, all right, nope, I like this show now.
yeah, I just randomly like, okay, nothing's on. Might as well check this out. Oh my god. You know?
Oh man, her parents, his parents, just
Yeah.
everything about that show was great. That is
yeah.
on Hulu.
That is?
That is on Hulu.
Dude, yeah, we gotta check
I'm more
that
than
out.
happy to start it from episode 1 again.
Yeah, that'd be fun, man. Because I haven't seen it in upwards of a decade. There was also around that time there was also Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place with Ryan Reynolds and
See, and
two other people that I do not remember.
I never saw it. I heard about it, but I haven't actually watched it.
Yeah, my mom, the one actual person on this earth who is in love with Ryan Reynolds and isn't a straight man, is my mom. She had a huge crush on Ryan Reynolds back in the day, so she really liked Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Can't blame her.
And I watched it with her because I was a dumb kid.
Mm. So, I mean, I really loved all of these sitcoms growing up.
Yeah.
TV shows are amazing. They don't hold the same weight, I think, nowadays, only because they get streamed on streaming services.
Yeah, you don't really appreciate it as much as you did, like, waiting until it came on the air and, like...
Yeah, I remember running home after school so that I could, watch Inspector Gadget when I was, like, 6 years old. Like, someone's like, hey, you want to stick around school and play on the Jungle Gym? No, I have to hurry up and get home and get to Inspector Gadget. Comes on in 10 minutes.
Yeah, I remember I actually intentionally woke up a little bit earlier than I probably should have when I was a kid, just so I could watch Twilight Zone, because I really like Twilight Zone.
So don't underestimate how important, I know a lot of people like to talk about film and TV and all of that, but in all seriousness, the amount of importance, well, I don't know, maybe importance might not be the right word I'm thinking of, but the influence it's had on literally every person in the world at some point in time is,
oh yeah,
you can't exaggerate it enough.
Well, I mean, and I kind of feel like this is another one, like, we can't say a whole lot about it without treading old territory that everyone's already dug into. But I also feel like if we don't talk about it, we're going to get burned at the stake for not doing so. But like during the last episode of Seinfeld, a lot of people, like, there were tons of like call-ins to work, and like people were putting off a lot of things that they probably shouldn't have to watch a TV show. They actually made a joke about that in Dharma and Greg.
Really?
Yeah, during the last episode of Seinfeld, they made their own episode, which was them living in New York while everyone else was watching the last episode of Seinfeld.
Wait, wasn't that the one where they go to the park to have sex with each other in a public place?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the one, because they picked that just because they knew everyone would be watching Seinfeld.
Good choice.
Yeah.
So
like
I said, important. It's something we all grew up with. It's not going away, but at the same time, I feel like
nowadays we just, like, you're not going to have that same thing where, like, the world itself is going to stop and watch TV.
Because it's on a streaming platform where they can buy it and download it and watch it when they need to. So it's...
Yeah, nowadays when there's a debut and you miss it,
who cares?
Big deal. I'll watch it when I get off work. Yeah. Or I'll watch it when I'm done at the doctor's office or whatever.
Yeah, so on one hand it's sad. On the other hand, it is nice. Like, how many people had to change jobs and thus work times and like, oh man, I'm gonna miss my show.
Well, it's like I actually had a VHS of MTV videos, which is a very old-timey thing to say.
Yes. Music videos are kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah. Well, they're not a thing of the past. It's just like MTV isn't really...
They don't do music anymore.
Yeah, they haven't played music. That was a joke when I was in high school.
MTV just took out the M and left the TV.
Yeah, but that wasn't even scheduled. It was all at random, but there'd be like that one song you really like. So you sit there and watch MTV with a blank tape in the VCR like, come on, you son of a bitch. Quit playing Mariah Carey and give me what I want.
You knew what this was.
Yeah.
So.
And then like when it first comes on, you gotta like make a mad dash to hit record. And, like,
oh my god, there it is!
Yeah. So it was a time. It was a strange time, really.
Oh yeah. That was things that we grew up with and watched and loved, and I think that's a great start to our season 2.
Yeah, I think we're gonna keep on going. I think we have way too many ideas to stop now, and I think
we have way too many movies and stuff to keep watching.
Oh my god, like you wouldn't believe.
You don't understand. The amount of worthless knowledge we have must be shared.
You do not know how long this guy can keep going without shutting up.
I haven't shut up in 32 years.
I know. Honestly, I'm not even mad. I'm kind of impressed.
I am the freak show you come to the circus to see. Come watch the amazing Motormouth.
Yeah, source of entertainment since we were in middle school.
You're welcome. So, alright, ladies and gentlemen, I can't wait to see you next time.
I'm excited.
This has been Andrew.
And this has been Patrick.
And we will see you next time. No, stop.
I told you to stop.